Okay. All right, last week we read the drama. Cadence, let's go, sister. Last week we read the drama, Peter Meets Wendy. This week we're going to read Peter's Shadow. When you look at this text, tell me, what do you notice about this text? What do you notice? Before we start reading, let's preview it. What do you notice about this text? One.
It's fantasy.
Okay, how do you know it's fantasy?
Because it says it up here where it says notes on top of it.
Okay, at the top it says fantasy. So he's using the clues that they give him. There's some other things, though, that would tell me it's fantasy. What would be another clue that this is fantasy? Rylan?
It's fantasy because if you look at the picture, it's drawn and stuff.
It's what?
It's drawn.
Okay. So we're looking at the pictures. What in this picture lets you know that this is a fantasy text? What do you see in that picture that would tell you that it's fantasy? I like that Rylan's using the pictures, but what in there tells you it's fantasy? Jose?
I think it's because your pan looks different.
Macklin?
There's a fairy in the picture.
Yeah, there's a fairy right here. Fairies are fantasy. They're not real. That's a fantasy character, okay? Now, Peter Pan, we know from this text we read yesterday, last week, is a fantasy character also. But if we're just looking at the picture and we're not thinking about the words, just what the picture shows, when you see a fairy, you know that that's fantasy, right? That's a fantasy character.
Yep.
Okay, so what else? So we know this is fantasy. What else? Marissa?
You also know that it's fantasy because if you look at the top, it's like from the novel.
The novel what?
Peter and Wendy.
Hey, everybody underline that. Novel, Peter and Wendy. It says Peter's Shadow from the novel Peter and Wendy. Now, last week, what did we read? What did we read last week?
A drama.
A drama. It was called what?
Peter Meets Wendy.
Peter Meets Wendy. And it was a drama. Jose, put that on. Or put it up. Okay, a drama, Peter Meets Wendy. This is a novel, Peter's Shadow from Peter and Wendy. So far we know we have the same what? Characters. We have the same characters. But last week it was a drama. This week it says a novel. What's another word for a novel? This is an example of a what? What kind of text?
It's like
Rylan?
It's fiction.
It is fiction.
Isn't it kind of like a narrative? Or like something that you write?
Okay, it is narrative. Y'all heard this word with Miss Cherry? I think you have.
No.
Prose. Miss Cherry teach you about prose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Prose means it's just a normal type of story. It's got regular paragraphs. It might have a narrator. It might not. You've been sharpening that pencil for a long time. Are you ready? Okay. Prose is just a normal story. It might have chapters. It might have paragraphs. And it's going to have characters. Last week what we read was a what?
Drama.
A drama. What's the difference between a drama and prose? How are those different? Patrice?
Because drama, it has like their name, like Peter, his line, and then Wendy, her line. And then prose, it's just a narrator talking.
Okay. So in drama, people have lines. Wait, what do we call that? Your lines are the what, Rylan? I don't see that. Okay, it is dialogue. But what is that called when you have a piece of paper with your lines on it, Macklin?
Like a script.
A script. Yeah, in drama, you have a script. When I look here, one, is this a script?
No.
Do people have lines?
No.
No, it's just like a normal story. So this is called prose. Okay, so we have prose and we had a drama last week. Yes, Marissa?
I would like to add on too, Beatrice, because like a novel or like prose does not have stage directions or scenes.
Yes, there's no stage directions or scenes here, but in a drama there would be
Stage
stage directions and scenes. Rylan, pay attention, please. Jose?
It's like whenever you're like in a play, like you have these little scrapbooks, like so you can know like what to say and stuff.
Yes, the script. You have a script. Okay, so this is a story that's going to be very similar to what you read last week because it's got the same characters, we're talking about the same things. But last week it was in a drama form, one, and this week it is in
Prose.
Okay? So this week, today, we're going to work right here. Everybody look at your little yellow sticky note at the top.
Yeah.
It says, as you read, make connections, right? Underline make connections between the story and your own knowledge, personal experience, and reading. So we're going to work on making connections from the drama to the prose. We're going to see how these two are the same and different.
Cool.
How are they connected? We're also going to practice making connections to the characters. We're going to say, how are we the same as these characters, or how are we different from the characters, okay? So let's start reading the forward. I'm going to read this part to you, and then we'll move on to the text. So everybody's looking at the forward at the top. This is this excerpt. One, let me have that. Thank you. All right, you with me? Okay. It says, this excerpt from the novel recounts most of the same events as the scene from the play in Extended Read 1. Okay, so everybody underline where it says most of the same events as the scene from the play.
Can we highlight it?
Sure. Okay, so what they're telling you is that the drama from last week and this story today are going to have a lot of the same what?
Same
It doesn't say things, what's it say? Same what?
Events.
Events. In 4th grade, we want to use that word. It's not the same thing happening, it's the same events happening, okay? All right, so it says, note how the narrator in the following passage interrupts the storytelling, addressing the reader directly. So in this prose, there are going to be times when the narrator is talking to you. Last week in our drama, the narrator was not talking to us. It was Wendy and Peter talking to each other. Here, there are going to be times where the narrator is actually talking to you. Okay? All right. Do you have those things on your paper, AJ? If it goes on my board, it needs to be on your paper. You're going to need it later. Do you have it? Okay. All right. Let's read paragraph 1. Read for us, Jose. Everybody's following along. Paragraph 1.
There was another light in the room now, 1,000 times brighter than the night lights. And in the time we have taken to say this, it had been in all of the drawers in the nursery, looking for Peter's shadow. Rummaged the wardrobe and turned every pocket inside out. It was not really a light, as it made this light by flashing about so quickly, but when it came to rest for a second, you saw it was a fairy, no longer than your hand, but still growing. It was a girl called Tinkerbell, who was exquisitely gowned in a skeleton leaf.
Good. Jose, you read really well. Okay, so tell me in this, what's going on here? What's going on in this paragraph? What happened in this paragraph? Annex?
Peter saw a bright light in the room.
Okay, so Peter sees a bright light. What is that bright light?
Tinkerbell.
Okay, so we have Peter and we have Tinkerbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is our prose. Prose means it's a what?
Like it's a
It's like basically like a normal story.
Like a normal story, like we're reading today. Last week we read a what? Drama. In your drama last week, did we have Peter?
Yes.
1. Last week in our drama, did we have Peter?
Yes.
Yes, I need you paying attention. Okay, last week in our drama, did we have Tinkerbell, Braylon?
Yeah, tiny bit.
Yeah, we did. So far, do we have the same characters?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the same characters. We know just from paragraph 1, the characters are the same. Now, what are they doing in paragraph 1? What was happening here? What's happening here? AJ, what was happening? Okay, they're looking for his shadow. Do y'all agree or disagree?
Agree.
Now, in my drama last week, did that happen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so they were looking for the shadow last week also. What do you notice? Make a connection between the prose and the drama. Between the story you're reading today and the drama from last week. What do you notice about the two? Tash?
They both got Peter, Tinkerbell, and then both of them are looking for the shadow.
Okay, so they have the what? What would you call this?
The same.
Patrice?
Like they both have a connection.
Okay, they're connected. Tell me how. What's happening in them? What do you think, Marissa?
They're both looking for his shadow.
They're both looking for a shadow. Jose, what do we call this? Remember I said it's not the same thing happening. It's the same what?
Events.
The what?
Events.
Events. The events are the same. The events that happen in the story today are going to be, Braylon, some of the same events that happened last week. Okay, as we go through this text, I want us to think about how these stories are the same.
It's kind of
Which events are the same? Yes.
It's kind of like they're building on each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Paragraph 2. Read paragraph 2 for us, Layla. Everybody's following along. Paragraph 2.
A moment after the fairy's entrance, the window was blown open by the breathing of the little stars, and Peter dropped in. He had carried Tinkerbell part of the way, and his hands was still in the seat with the fairy dust.
Okay. What's happening in paragraph 2? I just say all hands. What's happening in this paragraph? 1.
Peter and Tinkerbell flying to Wendy's house.
Okay. They're flying into Wendy's house. Now, there's something here that's a little different in the drama last week, right?
Yeah.
What do you notice is different from the drama last week? Michael, what do you think is different? Yeah, last week, did he hold Tinkerbell?
No.
No, last week they both what?
Blue.
Just flew in. Okay, so in the prose, Peter is holding Tinkerbell. Did that happen here?
No.
No. That didn't happen here. So in the major ways, they're the same. Where are they going?
To Wendy's house.
To Wendy's room. Now, is that in both of them?
Yes.
Okay, that's in both. They're going into her room. How they got there is a little bit different. In the prose, they got there because Peter's carrying Tink, right?
Yes.
But in the drama, they both flew
in.
in. Okay, what we need to realize is that the major event, the big event, is the same. The little detail about how they got to her room is
Not the same.
not the same. Okay, that's going to be important when we get to our summary. All right, let's keep going. Paragraph 3. Pay it 3 please. Everybody's looking at paragraph 3.
Tinkerbell, he called softly after making sure that the children were asleep. Tink, where are you? She was in a jug for a moment, and liking it extremely, she had never been in a jug before.
Okay, that's very similar to the drama. Tinkerbell was in a what?
Jug.
In a jug. All right, let's look at paragraph 4. 4 and 5. Read 4 and 5 for us, Jose.
Oh, do come out of that jug and tell me, do you know where they put my shadow? The loveliest tinkle as a golden bell answered him. It is the fairy language. You ordinary children can never hear it, but if you were to hear it, you would know that you had heard it once before.
Okay, what did you notice that happened here that was the same as your drama? How are these two connected? What happened in that paragraph that happened in the drama also? What happened in those paragraphs that happened in the drama last week also? Annex?
They both are using fairy language.
Okay, and both of them, they're using what?
Fairy language.
Fairy language. Okay, so we're starting to see that in the drama and the prose, all the major events are the
Kind of same.
same. Some of the little bitty details are a little bit different. Okay? So if I was going to tell someone, all eyes here, if I was going to tell someone what happened in the play last week, would I say that Tinkerbell and Peter flew into Wendy's room?
Yeah.
Yes, I would, right? If I was to tell them about the story this week, would I tell them that Peter and Tinkerbell went into Wendy's room?
No.
Are they in her room?
Yes.
Yes. So those events are the
Same.
same. If I'm telling someone the summary and I'm only telling them the major events are the same. So that means my prose and my drama are going to have what that's the same?
The main events.
The main events. What do we talk about when we just tell someone the main events? We're not telling them all the details. What's that called when it's just the major events? Layla?
The main idea.
What we talked about last week? What is it called when you just tell them the major events, Cody?
A summary.
A summary. Y'all remember us talking about summary last week?
Yes.
Okay, when we just tell them the most important things to happen, the major events, if my major events are the same for the drama and the prose, then that means both of these are going to have the same what?
Summary.
Summary. The summary is going to be the same because it's only the major events. They're written different. This is written as a play and this is written as a story. But their events are the same, which means their summary is going to be the same. Okay? All right, let's look at paragraph 6. Okay, when we're reading paragraph 6, we've talked so far about making connections between the prose and the drama. How are they the same and how are they different? How are they connected? Now I want us to start thinking about how can we make connections to the character. So when we're reading paragraph 6, I want you to think about how are you the same as Peter? When have you been like Peter before? Okay? So read paragraph 6 with a partner. Let's see. Do you remember your partners from last week?
No. I know me.
I think
Okay. Rylan and Patrice. Cash and Cody. Braylon and Cadence.
Oh, right.
Nevaeh and Juan. Marissa and Jose. Macklin and Annex. And then since Henry's not here, you two just kind of do it across. Or how about we do AJ and Annex and Macklin and Layla? Okay.
Yeah.
Tink said that the shadow was a moment box. She meant the chest of George. She after scattering their contents before which colors as scattering contents scattered into the crowd.
Okay, now you read in a moment.
In a moment, he had his shadow and his
light bulb shone to her Oh, shut I think messy.
Okay, so you can connect it because you forgot.
I know how I'm ready. Yeah, I'm
Okay, class.
Yes.
Back in star. Okay, how can you connect to Peter in this paragraph? What connection could you make to yourself? We've been talking about the connection between the prose and the drama. Now let's talk about a connection to the characters. How can you connect to Peter here? When's a time when you've done something similar or you felt similar? Annex?
You forgotten something? Like he forgot he set up Tinker in the drawer.
Okay, so he forgot Tink. Maybe we forgot something before. Macklin? Okay, so Macklin says she throws things around in the morning. She's trying to find something to wear. Because she would be in a what?
Hurry.
Okay, how do we know? Do we think that Peter's in a hurry here?
Yes.
How did you make that inference? How did you figure out that he's in a hurry? How did you figure out he's in a hurry, Jose?
It said Peter jumped at the doors, scattering their contents to the floor with both hands.
Yeah. So if he's scattering things to the floor, that's a clue that he's in a hurry. Okay. So let's say we can connect. We can make. Let's say we can make a connection. We can make a connection to Peter as he is in a hurry. He threw clothes on the floor. When did Macklin say she does that?
In the morning.
We do this
Every day.
in the morning.
There was 2 eggs. Stop learning. Beside 8.
Hurry. H-U-R-R-Y. I'll work on making my writing neat for you up there. You're writing quickly so we can move on. Yes, Layla. Quick. All right, when you have finished writing this, flip your page so I know you're ready to move on.
Find the difference. Find the difference. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready? All right, everyone turn to page 22. We're looking at paragraph 7. Everybody got this?
Yep.
1, where you at? Braylon, are you done? Okay, paragraph 7. You're going to read with your partner. What did I say?
Read with your partner.
Just paragraph 7. That's the only paragraph you're reading. So whoever read last time, the other person reads this time. Okay? If both of you read, y'all can do it that way this time too. I think some of you did it that way. Okay, so paragraph 7, you're going to read with your partner, and then I want you to think about a time you felt. I want you to first figure out, what does Peter feel like? Okay? Then you think about a time when you felt the same way. What connection can you make to Peter?
Okay.
Okay, so think about how Peter felt, and when is the time you felt the same way? We're trying to connect to Peter. All right, ready, paragraph 7 with your partner.
Okay, now this one.
And he's trying to stick it in with some other. It was annoying. Like annoying. And did not sat was that he tried to stick it but he also sat up with Wendy and she fell and shut her past through Peter and he sat on the floor and was he's pissed. Let's both read this one. What is song? How do you connect? Like when you connect songs, it's what is it? I'll tell you how I connect. When I read the songs and video she said and about she was so embarrassing, or she
Class. Yes. Okay, so thinking about paragraph 7, remember we're trying to make a connection to who?
Peter.
Okay, so before we can connect to it, we need to identify. Before we can connect to him, we need to identify how he feels. So how is Peter feeling in paragraph 7, Braylon? Okay, he feels sad. What's another word for sad? One?
Upset.
Damien? Disappointed. Annex? Huh?
Terrified.
Well, terrified is more like scared. You might got another word? Anybody have another word? Jose? Disappointed. Okay, what about frustrated?
Yeah.
Maybe a little frustrated. Okay, so we're identifying how he feels. Now, when is a time, before we figure out a time that you have felt that way, tell me why Why does he feel disappointed? Why does he feel frustrated or upset? What's made him feel that way? Nevaeh, why does he feel that way?
Because he can't find his shadow.
Okay, not that he can't find it. He's found it. What is he trying to do with his shadow?
Stick it on with soap.
Okay, stick it on with soap. Nevaeh, is that going to work? What happens when you try to stick something on with soap?
It's just it's gonna slip off.
It's going to slip off, right? Soap makes it a little more...
Well,
It's gonna slip off.
It's going to make it slippery, yeah. How many of you have ever gotten a ring stuck on your finger when you try to get it off and it's stuck? That ever happen to anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you, what's a good way to get it off? What's a trick? Marissa?
Butter.
Okay, butter. Or Miss Amy, what do you put on it sometimes?
Oil.
Oil, okay. Braylon? Well, we're not doing that right now. What is he using in here?
Soap.
Soap. That's what Miss Elena does. When her ring gets stuck, she puts soap on it, and I put it, I try to get it to slip off. Okay, soap's going to make it really slippery. So he's trying to get his shadow to stick with what?
Soap.
Soap, and that made the shadow
Slip off.
slip off, which has left him feeling
Sad.
disappointed, frustrated. Now make a connection to that. When is a time that you felt frustrated or you have felt disappointed? When's a time that you have felt the way that Peter feels? When's the time you felt that way? Annex?
Well, it was, I remember when it was, like, I almost got my ring stuck. Like, I felt like my ring was stuck in my hand.
Okay, why would that make you disappointed?
Because I was something feel like it was still on my finger forever.
Okay, something was stuck on there that you didn't want stuck on there? Maybe? Okay. Let's try to think. He's feeling frustrated. He's feeling disappointed. Think about how he's feeling. When's the time that you have felt that same way? Damien?
I feel frustrated because whenever I lost, I lose something, I get frustrated.
Okay, so I feel frustrated.
Do we write it?
Yes, sir. When I lose something. Yes, I don't know that, Rylan.
I'd like to add on to Damien because when I get frustrated, I get frustrated when I'm trying to put a football in my backpack and then have a binder or my workbook, another binder, and then.
So when you're trying to get something to fit and it doesn't fit, or he's trying to get something to stick on and it doesn't stick on, doesn't work? Yeah.
That's sad.
Okay, so here it says, Damien said, I feel frustrated when I lose something. Now, did Peter lose something?
Yes.
Yes, he lost his what?
Shadow.
Shadow. In paragraph 7, has he found his shadow yet?
Yes.
Yes. But do you think he feels like celebrating?
No.
Why not? Why not, Marissa?
Because he's trying to get it to stick back on and it won't really stick back on the soap.
Okay, so if you try to get something to stick on, he's trying to get shadow to stick on and it won't stick on, it keeps falling off because he's used. So, do you think he might still feel like it's lost?
No.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, because he wants it to stick on and that's not
Happening.
happening, right? So in his mind, he might be thinking, well, this is never going to
Stick.
It's never going to work. It's never going to stick. So he might feel like inside that he has what?
Lose something.
He's lost it, right? He might feel like, well, it's never going to come back. I've lost it forever. Hey, he could be feeling that way. All right, let's look at paragraphs
8 and 9.
8,
9.
8, 9, and 10. Read 8, 9, and 10 for us, Nevaeh.
Or she said
Courteously.
courteously, why are you crying? Peter could be
exceedingly
exceedingly polite, also having learned the grand manner at various ceremonies, and he rose and bowed to her beautifully. She said, much pleased, and bowed beautifully to him from the bed. What's your name? He asked.
Okay, so right here they're just doing the same things that they were doing in the last drama. Yes, they're talking about their names, right? But here it's a little bit different. What is different about this, paragraph 10, than it was in the drama? Patrice?
Because Wendy asked his name first, but then in this one, he asked what's her name.
Yes. So are they both talking about their names?
Yes.
Yes, they're talking about their names. In the drama, she asked about his name. Here, he asked about her name. So who asked is different, but they're still asking about each other's names. The main event, them asking about their name, is the same. They're still talking about the names. In both. Class.
Yes.
They're still asking about the names in both, but who asked is different. So the detail is different. The main event is the same. Okay? All right, let's look at paragraphs 11 through 16. 11 through 16. Read that for us, Hayden. Everybody's looking at 11 through 16.
Wendy,
Mora.
Angela, darling. She replied with some satisfaction. What's your name? Peter Pan. She already sure that he must be Peter, but it didn't seem a
But it did seem a comparatively.
short name. Is that all?
Okay, wait
Yes.
just a minute. I'm going to let you finish reading in just a minute. I want to talk about that word, okay? Everybody look at this word comparatively. Circle it on your paper. What are they talking about here in these paragraphs? What are they talking about here in these paragraphs? Annex? Their names. And her name is Wendy Mora Angela Darling. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then they talk about his name, and his name is just Peter Pan. Okay, so it says she was already sure that he must be Peter, but it did seem a comparatively short name. So she's talking about how his name is short. Okay, that's a clue to help me figure out what comparatively means. If she's talking about how his name is short, then that means she thinks her name is long, right? So what does that word comparatively mean? What is she doing with their names?
She's
comparing them. Comparatively, do you hear the word compare in comparatively?
Yes.
Yes, use those clues to help you. Under comparatively, I want you to put comparing. She is comparing their names. We're about to take it back in just a minute. Can you wait just a minute? All right, keep going for us, Cadence.
Yes, he said rather sharply. He felt for the first time that it was a shortish name. I'm so sorry, said Wendy Mora Angela. It doesn't matter, Peter Pan.
Well, good. Okay, so they're still talking about the names. They're talking about how his name is shorter, okay? All right, so 17 through 21. Which paragraphs?
17 to 21.
Okay, let's do it again. Paragraphs 17 through 21. Which paragraphs?
17 to 21.
Okay, you're going to read with a partner. So you read a paragraph, then your partner reads a paragraph. You read a paragraph, your partner reads a paragraph. I want you, class,
Yes.
just like before, you told me how you can connect to Peter. You made a connection to how he's feeling. I want you to think about how Peter's feeling here, and what connection can you make to that?
Okay.
Does everybody understand what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, read those paragraphs, 17 to 21 with your partner.
She asked on the 17th and then straight to morning. Go. Funny she asked Peter had an excited Peter had a secret feeling for the first time. What is or that perhaps it was a fake address. No, whatever isn't, he said. Peter remembered that someone was talking that the address was put on posted. Is that what they put on the I mean, feels kind of like gold because I want to do this. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah. That is not really in the same paragraph. Did you finish it? Okay, oh, it's like sort of like Republican test that I'm saying or posted that
You and your partner, class.
Yes.
You and your partner should have read it by now, and you should be talking about a connection that you've made. Okay, you and your partner write this sentence to the connection that you've made. I'm coming around to check them.
That you made. What could we connect to? I got a good one. One time my friend that I used was 855. It was to my house. I never started it first. It would be make like she said, Peter is getting feelings. What do you feelings about it, and you what you want to write is good.
Okay.
I get Peter is I don't like somebody made a fun address. I'm not going to I don't like that.
Okay, so his feelings kind of like this message is what? Okay, yeah.
I took my parents' stuff.
No, we're not talking about Christian people. We're talking about time when you felt feeling kind of sad because you made fun of him, right? That's what you said. So when is the time when you felt sad because somebody made fun of something that you did?
Oh, that was
Okay, that's a great connection. So write it down.
Like you said about
Sing about the same thing, okay?
then write what you said, and then that's how you can relate about.
Why did this go so
Okay, class.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about how is Peter feeling here? How's Peter feeling here, Jose?
Anxious?
Maybe a little anxious, okay, Patrice?
Like upset a little.
Okay, a little upset. Damien?
Probably like happy.
Did you say happy? Okay, well, if Jose says upset and you say happy, those are what?
Two different
Those are opposites, right? So he can't be feeling both of them. Which one is he feeling? Go back to the text. Don't try to guess. Go back to paragraph 20. Everybody look at paragraph 20. Everybody's finger there? Braylon, you with me? Peter had a sinking feeling. For the first time, he felt, so again, it's telling us how he feels, that perhaps it was a funny address. No, it isn't, he said. So if he's feeling like his address is funny and it's making him have a sinking feeling, he's like, he's feeling what?
Sad.
Sad, upset. Macklin? Embarrassed? Because his address is not a normal one, right?
No.
So think about a time. You say he's sad, he's upset, he's embarrassed because his address is a little weird, right? So when is a time that you have felt the same? You have felt upset, sad, embarrassed because maybe something you do, something that you have, something that you've worn, something you said is a little different than someone else. When's a time you make a connection to that? Braylon?
One day my sisters laughed at me because I got some Paw Patrol.
Okay, so when your sisters laugh at the gift that you wanted for Christmas, that would make you feel a little bit embarrassed, right?
Yes.
Hush.
I'm frustrated when
Braylon, I want you to write what you just said. Write your connection here if you have one.
I'm frustrated when my sister always makes fun of me about the weird combinations of food that I eat.
Okay, that's a great connection. I want you to write that there. Okay? Make your connection. When's the time that you have felt this way? Marissa?
When we went to a restaurant and I called our waitress ma'am, but he was a boy.
Okay, so it made you feel a little embarrassed. Yeah. Okay, Phoenix?
I felt embarrassed the first day of birthday.
Okay, that's a good connection. Good. Okay, so your job here, some of you have shared your connection, some of you haven't. Write your connection to Peter here. After I've checked it, we're going to take a bathroom break. Okay? Everyone know what you're doing? You're writing your connection and I'm coming to check it.